do we actually take the Browns seriously after doing this? I actually thought trading Myles Garrett was creating a new future because you have already effed yourself beyond repair with the Deshaun Watson situation that you needed a reset. You needed to slap the reset as hard as possible. And you would have gotten so much draft capital for Myles Garrett, and you could have been able to accumulate picks and start to rebuild this thing that by the time that salary is off the books, you've got a nice young core of guys that are in the fourth year of their contracts. And then you could have maybe figured out the quarterback in that span. I don't hate bringing back Myles Garrett because he's an elite premier player, but how seriously would you take them?
No, I would not take them seriously. They're still to be taken as the fourth place finisher in the AFC North. They are not a team that should be considered a serious program one bit, but they did make a serious move, and that is keeping Myles Garrett, keeping a franchise cornerstone, one of the best defensive players in team history, keeping a guy that is good enough on Myles Garrett alone to maybe woo in another edge rusher, to maybe woo in another defensive piece. They're going to struggle filling out that offense this season because what's grabbing me? I get to play next to Jerry Jeudy. I get to play next to David Njoku.
Jerry Jeudy's not bad. I think Jerry Jeudy gets some. He's got one game that kind of like made his stats look really good. And that's like a real ball knowers question when people go like, "Yeah, Jerry Jeudy had a great year this year." I'm like, "Well, he had that one game where he hit like almost 200 yards."
Yeah. So other than that, like offense, I'm not bringing in any big time free agents. But if I needed a defensive tackle for Cleveland, a linebacker, an edge, we say, well, we got Myles. He's here. He'll clear some stuff up for you. He'll make it easier. So I think it was a smart play to at least hold off the impending demise in a couple years of another full teardown and reset, contingent on if they can actually find their quarterback before then. If they find a quarterback, Cleveland's not in bad shape because they still have some good linebackers, a defensive backfield I still really like, and you have Myles Garrett and maybe a guy that can sling it around the field. If you don't, it's going to be another seller team for the Browns, continuously disappointing after we got a taste in that it was either the first or second year of Stefanski. We're like, they might have a legit coach. Like this team might be finally back. I thought Cleveland was going to do what Detroit was going to do, or what Detroit ended up doing. They fell flat on their faces. And I know you had to kind of pick one in the rebuild, but now it's Cleveland's time. They have to nail the quarterback position. Everything else comes secondary.
Jerry Jeudy, by the way, did have a 200-yard game. I wanted to double check that. He had 235 against Denver. I wanted to confirm that. He had a couple of really good games this year. It's just with how awful they were, it was kind of hard to establish consistency. But the 1,200 yards is like a hair inflated because of that one 235 game that he had. I forget there was some poor soul in Denver's secondary that he kept cooking. But I just don't. I keep coming away with this like reacting to the Myles Garrett extension and him sticking around for the next 4 years and him being here for this period of time and being so locked in, the no trade clause, all that stuff. I just don't know how good they're going to be able to get in the next 4 years. I just don't know like where they really start to take that next step. My ultimate biggest question is what the hell they're doing at quarterback. I personally think at the second overall pick, I don't think that they should touch either of these quarterbacks. It sounds like they're interested in drafting a quarterback. I push the narrative that I think that they should go after Abdul Carter. Imagine the pass rush that you would create with Abdul Carter and with Myles Garrett rushing opposite of one another. You would have the best pass rush duo in a year's time in the NFL. Let the quarterback stuff figure itself out instead of trying to force the second choice of quarterbacks because you get leapfrogged by somebody that trades up to the first overall pick.
Well, there's two ways to make that work. And there's one way that Cleveland's going to do it because it's how every organization does it. The first one works. Your pitch works if Cleveland brings in Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins or Justin Fields. And you have a guy that's had some time in the league, just knows how to fundamentally run an offense. Not great at it. You know, everyone has each quarterback there has their detractions. Kirk, Snake, Russ, old and bad, Fields, young and bad. So they all have their detractions, but they all also know how to run an offense in the NFL. And that could work by a year. You let Abdul Carter get revved up, second year, go after a quarterback, enjoy the sweepstakes, and try to hit big. What they're going to try to do is buy themselves, they being front office, buy themselves another 3 years by drafting a quarterback at 2. Because it's a young quarterback. We're going to reset the process, start from scratch. And, oh, you can't fire us. We just got this guy. You got to let us work out our vision. That's what teams are going to do. That's what I think Cleveland does. I think they do go after him. Should they? No, I like my initial plan better, where you bring in some lunk of shit quarterback to come in and head it up, maybe get a couple wins, keep it exciting, but I think they draft a quarterback, ruin that quarterback, and protect their jobs for 3 years.
I think that it's such a fallacy when front offices do this, where when there's not a good setup, like a good base foundation to bring in a rookie quarterback and to have a really good first year for all that, it's a fallacy that they assume that they're going to be able to buy themselves time. Because I feel like every single instance we see this where they're on their last legs, they draft a quarterback, they're still fired regardless. I mean,
it happened with
Eberflus, but like Poles is still there, but he kind of bought himself a year. He didn't buy himself like a shitload of time, but he got himself like a little bit of a cushion there. I feel like a lot of times it doesn't give him as much of a window as they maybe anticipate. I think though we need to acknowledge here, this year Cleveland needs to be it's going to be held. The offensive line took a little bit of a step backward. Just the whole team and overall was god awful this year. It was really inconsistent. Whoever's playing quarterback is going to be in hell. They are going to be blamed for a lot of issues. They're going to take a ton of pressures. That's why I'm pitching Daniel Jones to be the next quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. He is perfect for this. Daniel, you want to resurrect your career? Try and do it in Cleveland, brother. This is perfect for him. He can, if they go into the playoffs and he goes on some Joe Flacco type of freaking run, he gets to re-sign for a big deal, and they figured it all out. Stefanski could get something out of him, maybe, who knows, probably not. Or at the very least, I get to watch him get just the shit kicked out of him every single week. That's the alternative.
That's a lot.
Just throw 10 picks every, not every game, but just throw a shitload of interceptions, turn the ball over, and I get some other poor fan base to suffer through it.
Okay, you know what? I started off hating it. I still hate it. I like your rationale. You're someone that Sam. It seems like Daniel Jones could never pay enough for his sins and what he did to New York, in your opinion, correct? Like you would like to see him getting crushed by defensive linemen. I'm not
going to take it that far. I'm not going to be that guy who's like, I need to see him get hurt. I'm not trying to say that.
Well, no, I'm not saying it, but taking a big shot in the. Well,
I just I would like to go see him go to another team that he has no chance of succeeding in, and I just want everyone to be slowly reminded.
Do you get bitter if he does win a bunch of games with Cleveland?
No, I don't think I would get.
You're lying.
You're lying. No, wait. Hear me out.
Bitter.
Hear me out.
Oh no!
I wouldn't get bitter because it's such an improbable success story that I'd be like, holy shit, Daniel Jones of all people did it. I would be like slightly bitter, but it's kind of one of those things where you come away and you're like, oh my God, this is kind of impressive.
This is a nightmare scenario for Giants fans here.
Why?
Because you guys are going to be bad this year, real bad. Like maybe 5 wins bad. And if Cleveland goes off, has a tear in a year with Daniel Jones, then you not only have to play Saquon Barkley on the Eagles twice, but you have to see Daniel Jones resuscitate the worst league in the in the National Football League into a competent team in an absolute meat grinder of a division while you're slopping it up with the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I think that would be the last straw for a lot of Giants fans.
No,
it might actually shift the media market over to media market number 1 might actually shift. It would be so bad.
No, because I think it'd be kind of one of those things where you're watching from a distance and you're kind of going, he somehow did this. Here's where the bitterness would come in. Saquon goes to the Eagles, an already good team, and has a historic season. We're bitter because he went to a better situation, and it made him better, and it was also a rival. If Daniel Jones, say Daniel Jones, they cut Brock Purdy and they signed Daniel Jones, that would be a bitter situation because, how the hell did he deserve and get this shot with this really good team to actually turn this thing around and, actually take them to the next level? Him going to Cleveland, they're so awful right now, and they've been so consistently awful, you would just look and be like, I don't know how the F he did this, but you got to give him a little bit of props.
You see, I'm the complete opposite way, whereas if my team is bad and I see another bad team starting to really grow and rise and get better faster than my team, that's where I pour all my energy and all my negativity into is I can't believe we're so bad, and then Carolina and Bryce Young he's looking like a dude. Like they somehow gave him the breath of life to save his NFL career. And I'm watching Atlanta on a five game losing skid. That is where I start really getting into the meat of my hatred and passion in the NFL. It's not against the good teams because they're playing basically a different sport.
Yeah.
Like since 2018, since Patrick Mahomes came in the league, he and the Chiefs have been playing a different sport than the Atlanta Falcons. It's completely different. They have command, they have control, they have capability. Atlanta is just paddling and trying to tread water and stay afloat. They're not playing football. They're fielding a team and running plays, but they're not playing football and winning games.
That's a crazy way to put that. That's a really crazy way to put that.
So I can't even get mad at them. They are so far beyond what my team is. I get more mad at teams in my jurisdiction.
Okay.
That's why if I was a Giants fan and I saw another team in my jurisdiction.
Wait. Hold on. This is where I'm off with you. Giants are not in the same jurisdiction as the Browns.
Oh, they certainly are,
We have
pal.
2 Super Bowls in the last 20 years.
They certainly are in the same jurisdiction.
Browns are in that bottom tier of no success, no success.
I'm telling you.
The bottom bucket tier. The Giants have been bad for a stretch here, but 2 Super Bowls and 4 overall, 2 in the last 20 years and 4 overall says otherwise. You can't put one of the most Super Bowl winning franchises in the sport into the same bucket as a team that hasn't won one, man. You can't do that.
Oh, yes, I can.
No, you can't.
I certainly can.
Jaguars, Panthers, Browns.
The Browns have been to the playoffs more recently
Texans,
than the Giants.
Just because they've been there more recently doesn't mean...
That means if you haven't been to the playoffs more recently than the Browns, then you're in the same bucket.
But we're talking about just overall general success, okay? I can at least say in my lifetime I've watched 2 Giants Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's true.
Browns fans can't do that. There is a bucket of ass teams that they've had spurts of success, but for the most part been just dog ass.
We're going way back. We're pulling ancient history here if we're talking about those Super Bowls. That was 2012. That was 13 years ago, pal.
I still remember
It's a completely different sport.
I still remember it.
And what matters now? How many active players are still in the NFL from the last Giants Super Bowl? Probably kickers.
It doesn't matter.
There might be a kick. Is Neil Rackers
What about
still around?
the Browns? What about the Browns?
Exactly. What about the Browns?
When was they don't have anyone who's even alive who's run that? It's a little bit hyperbolic.
I think that the judgment for buckets.
Their last championship was an NFL championship. It was
true.
so long ago.
Yes.
The 50s.
The Browns are uber cursed. That is true. But that does not.
It was with technically the Ravens too. It's not this franchise because they relocated and then expanded.
That does not excuse your curse, the Giants' bottom bucket curse.
Teams ebb and flow, man. They freaking ebb and flow.
Where's been the flow since the boat photo, pal? Where's the flow been? That was a pretty big ebb.
Fuck you for bringing up the boat photo.
Ebb.
Hope you sink a boat.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get the hag of the week, Sean.